Welcome to the Mountain Magnolia Show, where your host, Mary Noble Braden, will introduce you to Swannanoa Valley's most interesting and most iconic individuals.
Let's give 'em something to talk about.
Hello to all you wonderful listeners out there. This is Mary Noble Braden on the Mountain Magnolia Radio Show. I appreciate you guys listening to the show today. And as you know, our focus here is to reveal the heart and soul of our beautiful community here in Western North Carolina. And every week, I love to share a quote or just a Magnolia moment that's opened our hearts. And this week's quote is going to go with the show. It's theater is a form of knowledge. It should and can also be a means of transforming society. Augusto Boal. I'll read it one more time. Theater is a form of knowledge. It should and can also be a means of transforming society. All right. Well, here we go. We're going to transform society with our wonderful guests that we have today. I've got Mitch Emoff here in the Mountain Magnolia Show. Thank you, Mitch, for coming.
Absolutely, Mary. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I can't wait to dive into today's conversation and share what you have going on.
I love the quote off the bat.
Hey, listen, I try to go with the theme.
Yeah.
Oh, you're here to change society with what you have going on.
Probably the best way to do that is as an author is to just get out of the way and let the people think for themselves and make their own conclusions.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you've got something going on. Well, before we get started on all the things, I want you to share with the audience what brought you to Western North Carolina.
Oh, yes. Well, I knew I was headed toward retirement, and I was in Brentwood, Tennessee, suburb of Nashville, enjoying my quarter of an acre lot with my neighbors, bouncing the basketball right outside of my bedroom window, thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have some land? And our cousins live out here in Rutherfordton, and so we visited a lot and realized this would be a great place to retire. So I moved out here with working first, telecommuting, back in my company in Nashville, and that was a smart move because we moved onto a farm, and I needed a reason not to start farming right away,
or staying there all the time.
Yes, exactly. So for a couple of years, I was still working, and then just retired earlier this year fully. But what a beautiful place to retire with the mountains and seasons and great culture all around you, many cities included.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful place to be. And, the Florida beaches just wasn't for me for retirement.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Western North Carolina. So how long have you been here?
A little over 2 years.
Okay. So for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's good.
Enough to enjoy all the different cities that are around us, Black Mountain and Asheville and Hendersonville, and the list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah, it is. And all the arts and fun places to visit is great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, tell our listeners what you have going on November 14th through 16th.
Okay. Well, I'm so honored that Black Mountain Center for the Arts is doing the world premiere of a play that I wrote and am producing now called Reconstitution. And it's a timely play because it's about our founding fathers coming back in time. There's a little bit of you have to take a leap of faith with the story because they come back in time in the bodies of high school students, which was my publisher's idea. So I give him credit to witness where we are as a country and have to come into the history class for this high school and debate some of the key components of the Constitution, like right to bear arms and freedom of speech and even the Three-Fifths Compromise. So even though it's a fun kind of wacky play, it has a serious content to it and makes us think, is our Constitution able to stand the test of time?
Oh, that's great. So and you're going to have actual high school students in the
Yes.
play?
all local talents.
Okay.
Many who want to go on after college and go into professional theater. So we have been blessed with an incredible cast. Some are from the Black Mountain area, some homeschooled children, and some from Asheville High School, and sprinkled all around. So it's been cool to watch them all kind of get to know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because theater, as you know, is just like a big family. And you come together and no one knows each other. And by the end, you're all sad and hugging when it's all over. And it's just nice to see these kids all bond.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. And is this your first play to write?
No, well, that's an interesting question because it is and it isn't. It was the first work that I ever wrote. And I wrote this back in 2009. And I dabbled in writing before that, but I decided, I had a story in me and it was kind of this story. It was about founding fathers coming back in time in their founding father bodies. And so I wrote that as a novel and I adapted it to a screenplay. And now it's written as a play. I work for, in my, volunteer spare time, I work for a publisher out of Chicago called Gittleman and Good Publishers. And the managing editor is this wonderful creative guy, Jason. And he said, why don't you take that story that you wrote before and convert it to be in the body of high school students, because we publish plays for the high school market. And I thought, well, that is brilliant because, don't want to sound like the old man in the room, but today you wonder if, we're giving enough history of what happened with our Constitution, and then I also recognize times have changed and it's important to see if it is adaptable. And that's kind of why I put the founding fathers in this position where they have to deal with a modern world. And so it's really my first work, but it's the fifth play I've written, but it is the only one that's been a novel, a screenplay, and a play.
Yes, and I like it how you told me also that Black Mountain Center for the Arts is the only place getting this play.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an honor to be able to produce it as well as be the writer. I mean, what a gift, because writing is lonely at times and you don't always see the fruits of your labor personally, but to be able to be over at the Center for the Arts 3 times a week, listening to them perform it and just hearing it out loud is reward in itself. Let alone when the audiences get there, but just to be able to see your work come to life,
right, and really get to work with it.
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of told us the genesis of Reconstitution, that you have been working on something similar as a book for your last several years, and how you're recruited the high school actors, and how it really fits into our local arts ecosystem here in the Center for the Arts in Black Mountain. I mean, it sounds like you're really wanting to start at the heart.
Yes, that's right. And by the way, the whole high school angle is also cool for another reason. John Hall, who is the associate director at the Black Mountain Center for the Arts, and he's also one of the lead characters in this play, very talented actor, elevating the entire production. He recommended that I speak to some of the high school drama teachers around the area, at Owen and at Asheville High School, and they were kind enough to let me come in and do a table read with their students, which is always great for a writer because it lets you kind of hear it out loud. And so I made a lot of revisions. I remember one of the students at Asheville High School came up to me after the table read and said, just as a little, I guess, sneak preview of the play, they said, George Washington didn't let his slaves go before he died. He had it in his will for later after Martha died. And I knew this, but I didn't write that into the play. And after that comment by a high school student, I thought, they're absolutely right. I need to just go ahead and write that in, just, instead of just kind of skirting it off to the side. And so I made some changes like that based on the input from these students. So it's very collaborative even before it gets to the stage. And then I came back to the Black Mountain Center for the Arts, and John was so pleased that we'd made some adjustments that's when we agreed to go ahead. So it all comes around in a very small town kind of way.
Yeah,
Everybody knows each other.
you all, everyone's working together.
Yes, exactly.
And how long have you been working working with Black Down syndrome at the arts? Is this your first time?
Not. I submitted to produce a play prior to this a year earlier, and they were very gracious and gave me great feedback on the proposal part of it. But they said that play was not, it's another story called Chickens about being on a farm, a city boy being on a farm, and it just wasn't right for that stage because it called for a lot of set changes.
Right.
And it's a great stage, by the way, over there. It's small and intimate.
It is.
Perfect for this because it's one high school classroom. There's no set changes, so it really is perfect for this play. But the other one wasn't quite the right fit. But through that process, again, I got to know Lori and John over there and establish a relationship. And then second time through, we decided to collaborate.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're really diving in, getting to know everybody, also the high school students, and it's so important, to work as a team together.
Absolutely. And one thing that's unique, we were teasing earlier about, Broadway. I'll come back to them since the world premieres here in Black Mountain and maybe give them a shot at it next. But one thing that is very unique about our theater culture here in Western North Carolina is there are about 20 plus theaters, and I know because I've gone to most of them just to get a lay of the land in Western North Carolina that are very good quality programs. So in other words, every town kind of has their theater program and they all know each other. So it's been great just to be able to get introduced to other people like, Flat Rock Playhouse
Yeah.
in Hendersonville is just an amazing facility. And so everybody's kind of got their different angle. Black Mountain has its own very unique production style and it fits well with me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of it fits well with you, since this play is about the Constitution, the foundation of United States, give us a little idea of how the story goes. Is there some modern media, TikTok, or is it all?
Well, let's put it this way: when
Okay.
the founding fathers see their first iPhone, they say, "Put away those glowing squares," So they are just totally deer in the headlights. No,
Okay.
I mean, imagine if they just walked into modern times
And
and
they're like, "What are you looking
right,
at?"
exactly, and they, Kirk Henry and George Washington are figuring out how to circle and cover their flank, and I mean they don't know where they are, and everything looks like this crazy sci-fi futuristic environment to them. So the cool part of the play, I think, is after they have the magical transformation to become the founding fathers, which I won't be a spoiler on that, but after they do, they have to quickly kind of get get it through their heads that, okay, we're in a different time and we're not just going to be able to walk out of here and survive. So we have to go along with this exercise in a classroom. It's the last day of school and the assignment is to reenact the Constitutional Convention. And so the founding fathers now have a crack at it in modern times and they have to convince the class, and the class is, not easily convinced because
Right.
a lot of the components are outdated in some ways. And so they have to figure out how to not only convince the students, but maybe even compromise on some things. And that's kind of the fun part of the play is the dialogue between the students and the founding fathers. And remember, the students think it's their friends who are still in these bodies of these high school students. So why are you talking in this colonial accent? And so once you get past that, it becomes a serious debate about four things: freedom of religion, right to bear arms, 3/5 compromise, and freedom of speech. So I just went right to the most controversial ones of all right off the bat. And it's sometimes fun or entertaining, and it's sometimes, serious discussion that they're having.
I think it's wonderful, and you're really putting it out there on how these young folks feel about where we are today. Because I actually think some of the young folks have come here for us and to teach us. You know, we can't just only go with, well, my grandmother and grandfather believed in this, and this is what we're going to do. And I do have a 21-year-old and almost 18-year-old, and my husband always say, "Well, they came here to teach us."
That's Mary, you're so right. And um, now, when I wrote it, I tried to keep that in mind. But again, being a couple generations removed from high school students, I did my level best to, emulate how students might think and talk. And we've propped it up. But I have to give a lot of kudos to Lucy O'Brien. Now, Lucy O'Brien is the director of the play. She's from Black Mountain, and she decided to take this on. And it's a lot more work than it is pay, as is true in all of theater, I think. But she took it on, and she has owned this project in an incredible way to watch her work and coach these students. She disarms them, lets them be honest about their feelings about it, and we've gotten a lot of insights that have had us make changes to the play based on her good kind of mannerisms with the students. It's been
Yeah.
amazing.
Everyone is revealing their heart and soul, their
That's
true
right.
their
That's
true
right.
purpose, and it sounds like you are greeting them with open arms and letting them speak their voice.
Absolutely. And I give Lucy credit for that because she is drawing it out from them so well. And by the way, directing, which I've never done, I'm more on the producing writing side, but just watching, you know, I would say, hey, say it like this, and I would read it like I want them to read it. But Lucy has a way of saying, how do you think Patrick Henry would feel right now? Would he be bad right now? And it makes them think about the character and how they feel, not so much just memorizing how the words come
Right,
out.
which is great.
It-
They're getting curious, and
yes,
she's asking questions instead of in today's world, which I'm guilty of doing. Like, okay, come on, time to get this over with. Let's get out. Let's move on. You know. So
yeah.
it's good. Well, I'm so glad you reached out to me and were able to come on the show and really explain uh, how the Black Mountain Center for the Arts is going to have your play on November 14th through 16th, and how all the folks have come together. It's community involved. It's not just a play that you've written. You have it's entangled high school students, folks in Black Mountain Center for the Arts, and you. So you really collaborated with everybody, and that's one of the secrets to life.
And I think the secret to this community, because the entire community has embraced this so well. I mean, in Nashville, you could knock on a door and they pull the shade down. But here, I mean, Cheryl Hyde at the Chamber,
Yeah.
Leanne over at the Swanee Museum. I mean, Melissa over at the library. Everybody's, so welcome. I've never experienced that. I'm like, almost like apologetic. I'd like to talk to you about a play. Come on, tell me about the play. Do you have a poster we can put up? I mean, it's been,
Right.
the whole community has embraced it, and it's just such a wonderful collaborative community.
It is, and thank you for coming to reveal the heart and soul of our community by your efforts of writing this play and just being who you are, Mitch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel an honorary Black member resident now, as long as they don't pay taxes.
That's right. Well, we did talk about when the play was for in the very beginning, but I want to go over that again. It's November 14th through 16th.
Yes.
And it's Friday and Saturday, 7:30 p.m. And Sunday a matinee at 2. And tickets are $20, and students ages 11 through 17 are $15.
And it's completely appropriate for the entire family, any age, really.
Okay.
I would say if they want to go to the Black Mountain Center for the Arts site, you can click on the theater button, and there's a link to get tickets there.
Okay. And I'm going to read the description real quick. On the last day of school, a history teacher's experimental lesson zaps 4 high school students into the spirits of America founding fathers: Franklin, Washington, Patrick, Henry, and Madison. And in the classroom turned battleground, they debate issues like freedom of religion, right to bear arms, and 3, fifths compromise, freedom of speech, while also dealing with TikToks and classroom clicks.
That's it.
Oh, it sounds great.
It'll be fun.
The Black Mountain Center for the Arts is a community-oriented arts facility. It was incorporated in 1995 and opened in 2000, and its mission is to bring the arts to the people and the people to the arts, serving the Buncombe County and the region. Oh, it's such a great
Yes.
place.
Yeah, it is.
Well, is there anything you want to talk about before I ask? Anything else you want to talk about before I ask the closing question?
No, I think we covered it. And thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
Yes, it was wonderful. I can't wait to come to the play. Oh, one of the things, tickets. You can go to the Black Mountain Center for the Arts to get
Yes,
tickets, or
yes.
can you get them at the door as well?
You can get them at the door as well. I'd like to say we're selling out, but we're not quite there yet.
They help you with that.
But you might want to, right, exactly. You might want to get them now because some nights might sell out.
Yeah.
Some of the nights are selling more than others. So.
And November 14th and 16th is what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, that's right. Just 2.5 now.
Yeah. It's just around the
It
corner.
is. It is.
It's going to be great. I'm going to send it to all my friends, and we
That's
will.
wonderful.
You'll have to come back on the show, and we'll have to give an update on how this
That would be
community
great.
responded to everything.
Yes. I'd love that.
Okay, so Mitch, you've been a great sport because he asked me, he's like, "Do I need to prepare for anything?" I was like, "No, I don't." So one of the last things I ask our guests is we ask our guests to share one thing with the audience that has changed their life for the better.
I would say and this is why this is so meaningful to me. It's working with youth. When I was in business in Nashville, I started working on the Vanderbilt mentor program with students we'd get as interns. And it ended up being 40 interns that we were able to work. And every one of those interns I wanted to work with. Yes, I got free labor. Actually, they paid a lot of money to come spend a semester with us to Vanderbilt. But the part that was the most meaningful I'm seeing today with the play, and that is the light bulb to go off for kids who today it's tough after COVID. They're looking for something to attach to, something to be part of, and purpose. And it's harder maybe than it was when I was a kid than now. So to be able to be one small part of that, whether it was in terms of Vanderbilt, other youth that I've worked with, or now with this play, that is the one thing I think that really that I'm passionate about. If you can give a child something that, and as I watched these Vanderbilt students go on, now the oldest one's in their 40s, this has been a long time. We've done this, and I see where they've gone to in their lives and their careers. It just makes you feel good that even if you're one small part of that you have an impact.
Oh, it's so true. We had such a different childhood. Well, for me, back in the 80s, I was born in 75, but things were just so different. I grew up with a lot of outdoor time. I was at my family's farm or down on the coast. I was on a boat. I was always outside.
Yeah.
And it's just not that way today, but the kids are just looking for a little bit of that connection.
That's so true.
And it sounds like whether it's in the arts or nature, it sounds like you're here to give them that.
And theater is an incredible medium for that because, we all, bury our faces in our cell phones.
Yeah.
But when you get on that stage, or even when you're rehearsing, everything's put away, and you were just interacting with people, and
You're feeling it.
Yes, exactly.
You're feeling it.
It's a little bit of a lost art, but I think I'm optimistic. I think when I see these kids, these high school students, I think they yearn for that. I wouldn't be
agree.
surprised if there's a revolt against cell phones someday.
I think it might be sooner than later.
Let's kill social media
Yes.
after the play.
That's right. All right, Mitch. Thank you so much
Mary.
for coming to reveal the heart and soul of our community.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see the play. And guys, again, the play is on November 14th through 16th, and you can go to Mountain Center for the Arts website. I will have this on my Instagram and Facebook at the Mountain Magnolia, so you guys can get information on that. And Cameron, big shout out to Cameron for being my right-hand man, making the show work. He comes and records and makes everything easy for me. All I have to do is hit upload and write a description. So I appreciate you.
Well, at least I try my best on that.
So good. You do good. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to the Mountain Magnolia Show, and have a wonderful week. Until next time. See you later.
Thank you for joining us for Mountain Magnolias with your hosts, Mary Noble Braden. Join us next time for more interesting stories from the Swannanoa's most interesting people as we give you something to talk about.
Let's give 'em something to talk
Mountain Magnolias is a production of Noble & Company Realty in Black Mountain. For more information, please call them at 828-357-5243. 828-357-5243.